The authorities there imposed curfews in most major U.S. cities to prevent fresh rioting after anti-racism protesters again took to the streets to voice their fury at police brutality. Now, this followed the killing, as we all know, of George Floyd after a white officer pressed a knee into his neck while taking him into custody in Minnesota. Now, to tell us more about this, Don Orozco joins us live. Hello, Don.
Good afternoon, Alma. And I am actually confused right now because there's too many things happening here in the United States. Of course, we are actually in the period of pandemic still with COVID-19. But then now we are being faced with so much rallies, riots in practically the whole major cities in the United States, from the East Coast to the West Coast. But before I dwell into any of those, let me report a little bit about COVID-19. Currently, as everyone knows, there's already 6 million tested positive dito sa COVID. And then 1.7 of which is coming from the US. 367,000 have already died, and 103 of that, more than 103 of that, is from the US, which means it's playing around 1/3 of the total death numbers. And right now, total number of unemployed here in the United States has soared into 40 million. So those are the numbers that is actually affected by this coronavirus pandemic. Now, that's how it is when it comes to COVID-19, Alma.
So, Don, what happened? Okay, sige, go ahead. Go ahead po.
Well, transitioning into what is going on.
Yes.
The people around the world have already known about the death of George Floyd, who was actually being arrested, and it is already in the internet, wherein there is actually around 9 minutes that he is being arrested, and showing that the cop was actually kneeling on his neck, and then he was saying, "I cannot breathe." So those are the things that actually triggered this supposedly peaceful protest. Now, this peaceful protest has already transformed into looting from practically all over the United States. I was showing earlier maps of Minnesota and part of California. I am just trying to show which cities are being affected by all of this looting. And it is very sad to see that, looting, anarchy in the streets, arson, and vandalism has prevailed all over the United States. That is why even in most cities here in the United States, let us cite, for instance, Los Angeles, Santa Monica, and then there's Long Beach, and then there's Oakland. Even here in our own city, San Jose, they already declared curfew just to prevent looters from really damaging and destroying the community. So a lot of them have imposed martial law right now. And even in the White House, in Washington, there was martial law, but it is at 11 o'clock. It starts at 11 p.m. But, because of the difference in time, 11 o'clock in White House in Washington is 8 o'clock p.m. here. So there's a 3-hour difference. And again, it is very horrible to see what's going on around the United States, specifically those communities that actually have been most affected, including Minnesota. And that's the latest, Tito, Alma.
So paano
And
yan, Don, with the COVID-19 still not, we still haven't solved that. And people are out in the streets protesting and having this chaos all over the U.S. Paano na lang yan and with one of the country with one of the most COVID cases in the world. So medyo double jeopardy ito, ano?
Tama ka, Alma. And as a matter of fact, they are thinking that this will actually spike up more because we had just had a Memorial Day weekend last weekend. And because it is really hot here in the U.S. right now, but again, it's not as hot as it is in the Philippines.
Yes.
Pero it is really hot, so a lot of people, a lot of folks actually went to the beach and went to the pool. So the social distancing was never observed. And then, pumasok ngayon itong death and rallies nitong si George Floyd. And there's really no regard to social distancing. That is why a lot of health experts here in the United States, from the East Coast to the West Coast, are expecting a spike in cases of coronavirus.
That is so sad. Okay, so thank you, Don, and we'll wait for more updates from the U.S. regarding this and COVID-19. Thank you so much for your report.
And by the way, Alma, before I go, no, the National Guard has already been tapped to help. Kasi ang mga police officers from all over the U.S. is now overwhelmed. And it's been like 30 years ago since we last called the services of the National Guard to maintain peace and order here. And again, really, it's too much anarchy in the streets.
So why are they arresting some journalists like CNN reported, but then he was let go after a while?
Well, again, it's really something. Actually, the government officials were actually disgusted and was disappointed on the arrest. But then you cannot actually blame the police officers, because if you are out in the streets and it's already curfew, they will have to actually really try to arrest you. And right now, it's just that it did not make it. But I was showing a video earlier. There is a reporter also from CNN that is being harassed by the protesters. He was being egged on to go to the front of the line. But you know how it is with us, media. We just want to be going around and see for ourselves what's going on around our area. And basically, that's what's going on right now here in the whole of the U.S. And hopefully, this will end with the presence of the National Guard. Again, reporting live here in Silicon Valley, this is Don Orozco. And again, please let us follow social distancing, stay safe as we live in interesting times.